And actually what I'm working on here, so everybody can be aware, is a Wacom. This is a 24 HD Cintiq, I believe is the name for it, which is a little bit of a different type of tool, because instead of artists using Wacom tablets where the tablet's sitting up in front of them, or any other tablet for that matter, and the monitor's up top, you can still get the pressure sensitive type of techniques you can get from some of these pins. In this case, you're actually working on the monitor itself, which is incredibly useful because you're able to sketch. You're able to sketch in pressure sensitive form as well as paint. So a very, very an amazing tool actually for any artist that's out there doing this kind of work or any other kind of work. So for this piece, this is one of the pieces where I started off where the title was actually mine. I had friends that say, you do too many dogs, I want some cats. Would you please paint a cat for me? In that case, if they're willing to pay some good money for a piece that's going to be going to a charity, you bet, I'll paint whatever you want. So I started off with the title in mind here, which was Swinger. And he was going to be a cat hanging on a swing, and I wanted it to be a little bit of a different type of format, so he was going to be a bit more vertical than horizontal. And I started off with just a sketch, just a rough sketch from Mind here that I then changed because I thought he was a little bit too downtrodden. I thought he needed to have a little bit more character to him. And after having the sketch done and then adding in the swing, as I've talked about in other videos, I'll then move to working on color. So for this one, I wanted to figure out not only the color of what the cat was going to be, but the background color. So I decided this is a nice color for the background, and at that point I then moved to filling in and painting the actual cat. So if I remove the swing there and show what the cat ends up looking like after I'd done some of the painting over the top, and then adding in the swing into the background. I'll then add in a few more elements that I'll use on the canvas itself. I also do some tricks and techniques that I've learned over time that add some additional depth to the painting that you don't get on the canvas print here before I actually go to the print process. But after I'm done here, I'll then print on a large format printer direct to canvas. For me, it was always a swing, and this is, like I said, I'll work back and forth between titles sometimes. I started off with a title first, so I started off with a hand sketch that's inside my Moleskine book. So it was always going to be a swing. It was always going to be a cat on a swing. Just didn't know the details as far as what the color would be. But I had the sketch inside the sketchbook before I did it on the computer. Well, this is the finished piece for Swinger, which you might or not be able to tell on the final pieces. These are about 1.5 inches in depth. All my pieces are, and I actually mounted this one on birchwood. So after finishing what I like on the computer side of it, I'll then print to a digital canvas. I'll stretch the canvas, in this case on the birch board. And after stretching it, I'll go over the top of the entire piece with different colors of acrylic. So once I layer on the acrylic, I'll then move to oils. So do the oils over the top. This is more of a style that I'm doing more now, which is a little less impasto look. So it's a little more flat in terms there. But then one of the things that I love doing at this point in time is removing color. So removing the oils to allow some of the acrylic color that's showing through, which you get a little bit showing on the edges, which is part of what I like to do as far as the style. But then outlining the piece and adding small divots that add a little bit more color to them. So in this case, one of the somewhat happy accidents, instead of painting out the whiskers, I actually add the whiskers by removing some of the color over the top. The reason why I'll go with acrylics below, other than the fact that we live in Arizona and acrylics dry in about 10 seconds, they'll actually start drying before you even put the palette knife on the canvas. They provide a really interesting, different type of technique when I'm going over the top of oils. So oils behave a little bit differently for me, at least when I'm going directly on canvas. When I've got an acrylic over the base coat of the piece, going over the top with the oils, this ends up being an effect that I like more. So what I'll do with the acrylic layers that are underneath, in some of my pieces I've got multiple colors of acrylic that are happening underneath. The removal of color adds, removal of the oil at least, adds an additional layer of depth to it, then allows some of the acrylic to be able to show through. So instead of painting and constantly painting over the top, pulling color out is one of the ways that I like to create something.